when did you decide that your body, I don't know if you have decided, like, where do you draw the line of what's healthy and what's not? So I'll give an example. For me, I have, I think exercise and eating well is important. However, with my anorexia, I can't do something too much because it'll just spiral me, and then all of a sudden I'll become obsessed with exercising every day and obsessed with like a certain diet. So for me, I tried to skew it to where I started a dance class to exercise for my mental health and yoga. And that's what I can do to stay healthy for my mental health and keep my body moving. And then I just started to try to eat more plant-based and eat more vegetables, but I also I'll still eat meat, for special occasions, because if I start making rules, then I start becoming very sick again. So what about you? Did you ever come to a point like where you thought, okay, it's time to be healthy and here's how I'm going to do it?
Yeah, I actually kind of obsessed over it. Well, and I feel similar to you too, where it sounds like what you're expressing is like, I have to be careful with my addictive tendencies, because not only can that take me down the downward spiral, but it can also take me down this this upward spiral. So I need to make sure that I have good boundaries around what I'm doing. Yes. So, and I feel very similarly to you in that regard as well. Like, I smoked half a pack of cigarettes a day for 10 years, and I quit cigarettes 3 or 4 times, and so I've been through these cycles of getting sick and tired of something in here, still doing it here for a while. And while I'm doing it here, going through these cycles, and this creates so much dissonance that after like a month or 2 months, you just kind of get fed up and you're like, okay, I have to change my behavior. That, at least for me, was how many of my quitting cycles with cigarettes were. So yes, I did get to a point where I actually think that growing up with a sick mom was a really good thing for me, because I got to see what I didn't want to be like. And so I knew, like, no matter how effed up life gets, and it will get effed up, and I expect it to get effed up, but no matter how effed up it gets, I have a model of how I don't want to see things, because I know that the way she was looking at herself and the world and her place in it, no doubt she had a lot of true challenges, but the perspective that you take on is a choice. So I had that, and I was like, okay, I know that I want a super awesome life. Like, I always knew that. And I think that is what ultimately gets me out of these things eventually. Like, did I quit cigarettes 3 times and then continue to smoke? And then I finally got to the place where I was like, no, for real, I'm done. And I think that for real moment is because I just refuse to live a life that feels mediocre, or feels like, not mediocre maybe, but feels like I'm not engaging with my potential. I'm not trying to become the best that I can be. So I think that kind of powers the whole thing for me.
I totally relate to that. For me, I kind of have a little chip on my shoulder, which is not the most. Therapists have said it's not healthy, but I have accomplished some things because of it. And I just think, you've been given this hand that kind of sucks. You have these obstacles, but guess what? Instead of crumbling and becoming a statistic like everyone would think, that's really sad that Grace ended up being like that. But, it was really just a matter of time. In my head, I'm like, instead of doing that, I'm going to become so successful that
totally.
People are going to be like, wow, okay, she's not a statistic, which is it's not super healthy. I know that, but I get worried that I'm not going to live up to my potential or this gift of life that I've been given. Like, what if I waste it, you know?
Yes. I definitely, I don't want to live in a way where I have regrets.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think if I were on my deathbed right now, I really don't think that I would look at my life and have regrets. I'm just sort of like, that's always been my MO of like, just go do big, messy things, fail a bunch, embarrass yourself in front of whoever you need to embarrass yourself in front of. But at least at the end of the day, you're not going to be like, oh, I wish that I had spoken up. I wish that I would have said yes to this thing. You know, it never feels like that for me. So, yeah, I think what you're getting at too is like the best revenge is a life well lived.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that's totally where my focus is. Like, I want to live well.